The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Hey there, good evening, sports fans, and welcome to Friday Night Live. Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Doak Propane, Great Southern Bank, Labor's Local 663, Shelter Insurance, and the Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Certainly glad that you have tuned in. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Hey, we have the chat box here. You can go to Facebook, YouTube, or Scoreboard Guy on Twitter. You can chat with us here throughout the show. We'll be on for about the next 90 minutes, and we'll play some interviews from this past week on our show dealers of the Ozarks, male and female athletes of the week. We'll get to the scores right now. It's just gone final in Nixa as Nixa goes to 5-0 as they defeat the Joplin Eagles 49-35. Huge night from running back Ramon Green as he gets a little revenge from last year, as that was the last game he was able to play and didn't finish that contest following that injury. But he goes for, by my count, 327 yards and 5 touchdowns. But Nixa wins 49-35, and you look at Nixa's remaining schedule. They do have Ozark. They still have Republic on the schedule as well. So some games definitely there, but probably the gauntlet of that COC is behind the Nixa Eagles. We'll run through the scores excuse me, from the Thursday night games. Last night, St. Paul Lutheran defeats Sweet Springs 50-28. It was Portageville over Charleston 34-28. Poplar Bluff defeats Sykeston 35-2. Central Bank of the Ozarks, strong roots, endless possibilities. In 8-man football tonight, North Shelby defeats Knox County 62-20. Here on page 1, it was Butler over El Dorado Springs 32-0. Monroe City defeats Centralia 28-7. Marionville over Diamond 44-3. Elsewhere, it was Crystal City over Gateway 24-22. Louisiana defeats South Callaway 32-28. Windsor over Midway 52-13. And Ash Grove, in a defensive battle, defeats Miller 8-6. It was East Buchanan over Penny 45-16. Russellville defeats Scotland County 42-13. It was St. Mary's over Duchesne 48-6. Here on page 2, brought to you by the Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks sponsors our male and female athletes of the week, and you'll hear from them here throughout the show. There'll be a couple here we'll play as we try to gather up more finals from around the state. But on page 2, we have Logan Rogersville. They shut out Springfield Catholic 48-0 in Big 8 action. Ava over Salem. They're in the South Central Association 38-0. It was Southern Boone over Versailles 49-7. Labor's Local 663 brings you page 3. And to that, got to play in a nice event golf tournament down at Point Royale in Branson today, courtesy of the Labor's Local 663. It was a great fundraiser for some great folks who do some wonderful things here in the Ozarks. Got to visit a little bit with Dana Hughes from the Chiefs broadcast. Sean Barber was there as well, and we're in both of them and myself are in a fantasy football league together, so it was nice to catch up with them. But here on page 3, it was Park Hill Central over St. Genevieve 45-3. Hannibal defeats Mexico 49-8. Elsewhere here on page 4, brought to you by Saddle Ridge Golf and Country Club. Smithville over Excelsior Springs 42-8. It was Carl Junction over Branson 32-7. Hillsboro defeats Festus 58-21. Farmington over TDW Prep 43-0. The Bank of Billings brings you page 5. Page 5. Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. It was Holt over Fort Zumwalt North 14-7. Lebanon beats Waynesville 52-14. It was Kickapoo over Parkview 41-8. Washington defeats Liberty 76-7. Here on Great Southern Bank's page 6, Great Southern Bank with more than 100 locations in 6 states. They care as much about your money as you do. Great Southern Bank, member FDIC. CBC over to Smet 41-28. As I mentioned, Nixa defeats Joplin 49-35. It was SLU over Vianney 49-14. And our game scheduled for Saturday, brought to you by Doak Propane. Doak Propane located in Bolivar, Missouri for all your propane needs in Polk County and the surrounding counties. Call the folks at Doak. Your Saturday game schedule is Fort Zumwalt West is at Francis Howell North. Thayer is at Houston. University City is at Jennings. MICDS is at John Burroughs. Greenfield will travel to Keatsville. It is Hazelwood East at McClure. McClure North is at Rittenhour. Afton is at Riverview Gardens. Chaminade at Soldan. Rockport is at Tarkio. Farmington is at TW Prep, and that may be a mistake. I don't think they will be playing back-to-back days, but we'll work on that. Pembroke Hill is at University Academy. Priory is at Westminster Christian. Those are the schools that we have. I'm going to run through, just check out some other avenues. And we get scores from several places. A lot of them, or the majority of them, are actually sent to us. And if you want to send us a score, send it to @Scoreboard Guy on Twitter or @Missouri_sports on Twitter. We'll make sure that it gets up. Other finals here in the state of Missouri: Carthage defeats Neosho 47-7. Seneca over Monette 55-20. Lamar over East Newton 56-6. Lebanon over Waynesville, and I read that 52-14. Marionville defeats Diamond 44-3. Webb City at last report in the fourth quarter was leading Ozark 55-40. Also in the fourth quarter, Camdenton, and that was just with about a minute and a half left, is leading West Plains 31-14. Other final, Colcamp defeats Slater 42-14. Liberty over Willow Springs 41-14. And Carl Junction has defeated Branson 32-7. Republic late in the fourth there leads Willard 35-22. That was 22-21 at the half as Willard scored with 40 seconds remaining in the second quarter. They've been shut out so far in the second half. In the fourth quarter, Bolivar's kind of hanging around with Glendale. Glendale leads 15-6 there. Other final, in the Ozark Conference, Rolla defeats Hillcrest 55-20. Those as we check through, Liberal over Jasper 54-36. And in the fourth quarter, Appleton City leads College Heights 52-44. Checking other sources, we jump back and forth here. Black Oaks defeats Boonville 52-13. We'll see if we can get any more finals. College Heights with 6:15 remaining in the fourth quarter, trailing Appleton City 66-44 now. Final score from Trenton as Trenton defeats Milan 21-7. So that game has gone final. That it was at Milan. Marshfield, just a final just now, as Marshfield falls short and they lose to Reed Spring 26-19. And it is a final, as Webb City does hang on and defeat Ozark 55-40. Final from West Plains. That game has now gone final as Camdenton defeats West Plains 31-14. And a final score up in the St. Louis area as Jackson defeats Cape Central 42-14. So now Camdenton now is 5-0 on the season, and that's that Highway 7 rivalry game, a much bigger one, as both those teams will now only undefeated. Do have a final in the McDonald County Cassville game as McDonald County defeats Cassville 21-14. Colcamp defeats Slater 42-14. And we're checking there on that. That'll get us all caught up at Scored Guy on Twitter. You want to be part of the show? Jump in, send us a question or comment right on the chat overlay. It'll pop up right on the board. My camera's off currently right now. We're going to play some interviews here, but we're live in the Pizza Ranch studio. We'll have a little Pizza Ranch commercial. If you haven't joined the club, and those are the members that have fallen in love with that Pizza Ranch chicken, you need to take an opportunity with locations in Bolivar, Branson, Joplin, Wentzville out of St. Louis, St. Joe, Independence, Maryville, and I believe there's one maybe newer one coming in. And but anyway, we're going to be in the St. Joe area here in the next couple of weeks to host a quarterback club. They host a quarterback club here in Springfield every Monday, right up there at the Pizza Ranch Battlefield Mall location at 11:30. So come out and join us and follow Scoreboard Guy. You'll know what teams are coming. We have different teams every week that come in. A lot of the Springfield schools will come 2 or 3 or maybe a couple of them even 4 times, along with Catholic. Last week we had Marshfield was present there. We had Buffalo as well as Logan Rogersville, and Springfield School was Glendale and Springfield Central. Coach Heppola from Evangel has been so far at every one. Last week we had Coach Consiglio, who's an assistant coach for Missouri State, came out and talked a little bit about their Arkansas game. So come out and join us at Pizza Ranch. And, hey, believe me, you're going to fall in love with that chicken. We're going to play this, and then we'll hear from Anthony Winson, who plays football at Liberty, who will be attending the Air Force Academy next year, but he was our athlete, one of our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athletes of the Week. So we'll hear from Anthony Winson after this Pizza Ranch commercial. You're listening and watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Only Pizza Ranch serves buffet your way.
Don't you mean my way, Mr. Voiceover Guy?
Sure, anyone's way, actually. Request your favorite pizza. We'll make it, bake it, and give you the first slice.
I can add peppers to pepperoni, Stampede on stuffed crust, maybe Texan taco on thin. No tomatoes on my half. How can I convince Mom to let us eat here every night?
It's buffet your way at Pizza Ranch. Say it with me, kid.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, well, hello again, sports fans, and welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage, coming to you live from the Pizza Ranch studio, and as always, presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Doak Propane, Great Southern Bank, Labor's Local 663 in the Bank of Billings. Certainly glad you've tuned in for our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week segment. We go to Liberty High School, home of the Blue Jays, and head football coach Chad Freegon. Coach, thanks so much for being part of the show today.
You bet. Thanks for having us on.
Coach, before we get into our Athlete of the Week segment, just tell us a little bit about the Blue Jays, 2-2 on the season in a very tough district, But tell us a little bit about the season up to this point.
Yeah, we feel like we're getting better each week, and we started out with a big win at Lee Summit West week 1, and then dropped 2 in a row to 2 really good football teams. We lost to Liberty North, and then a real close game to Ray Peck. We lost 34-31, and then we're able to bounce back with this big game versus Park Hill last week. So we hope we got ourselves moving in the right direction, and regardless of where our scores have been, just keep getting better each week.
Coach, with regards to your 4 games in, about halfway through the season, you guys are relatively healthy?
Yeah, we are. And we went through a stretch where we were missing a couple guys, and that 2 of our top players were out of that Ray Peck game, and they bounced back quick. So we feel like we're kind of back to full strength and hopefully stay that way.
And a big night by the gentleman sitting next to you against Park Hill. I was watching, kind of following along at Scoreboard guy on Twitter, and 6 touchdowns, 265 yards for Anthony Winson. And tell us a little bit about this young man.
Well, Anthony's been such a versatile player for us, and over the last few years, he came in as a sophomore and played receiver and played some slot and did a really good job. And then right in the middle of his sophomore year, our starting running back got injured, and there was Wintrick Williams, and he was one of the top running backs in the state. And Anthony popped in and did 3. We were ranked number 1 in the state at the time, and he had 3 games in a row where he had over 100 yards. And we knew right then we had a little something. And last year went back to receiver when Wintrick was a running back as a senior. And as a receiver last year, just had an outstanding year. He ended up he was first team All-State, and as a returner also, and just really used his speed, and it's made him a more versatile player. And I think that's coming into effect. We use him, catching the ball in the backfield a lot, but the other night he actually ran it quite a bit and was able to put together some nice runs. And so I think his versatility really helps him.
Well, Anthony, thanks for being part of the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And on behalf of Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks and the Missouri Sports Network, congratulations on being named an Athlete of the Week.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it.
Anthony, first, tell us a little bit about your background. Coach, talked about coming as a sophomore and getting put in the backfield, and then back at wide receiver a year ago. Now you're back in the backfield. What's been the adjustment like? Although you've done it once as a sophomore, but coming back into the backfield, what was the adjustment like?
Well, I mean, I've been a running back most of my life, I would say. So the transition for me was actually from running back to wide receiver my sophomore year, and I had to learn that position a little bit more. So coming back to running back actually kind of feels a little bit more comfortable for me. Not saying I didn't enjoy my time at wide receiver. I'm going to Air Force to play slot out there and run the ball as well. So, I just like playing offense and the whole offensive side of the ball. So any way I can get my hands on the ball, I'm for it. So.
It's 265 yards, 6 touchdowns against Park Hill on Friday night. Tell us a little bit about that. Was the scheme work? Obviously, you get great blocking up front. Where do you lay that success?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just it comes down to everybody. I mean, the scheme was we executed our game plan. I mean, we came out there what we wanted to do. We wanted to run the ball and keep their offense off the field. They got a high-powered offense over there, led by Kendrick Bell, and we wanted to keep them off the field, and we did that. And that goes to the O-line and Coach Frigon here and Coach Brown and all those guys, creating the game plan, and we just executed well. That's all I can say, really.
What's a typical week like? Just in preparation up. How do you get prepared? Are you watching a lot of film? Are you looking at just reports and things like that? What does your week look like going into this week 5?
I mean, yeah, we definitely watch a lot of film. We try to, pick up on tendencies from, I watch the linebackers a lot to see if they're over pursuing, if I have a cutback lane or, what's the safety doing? Is he coming up hard? Stuff like that. And really we just work make sure we're comfortable with the plays that we're running that week and, kind of go from there. And just in the game, we just kind of feel it out and, try to make some big plays.
Now, are you guys a no-huddle team, or are you a huddle-up team?
Yeah, mostly huddle. We do have a package where we can go no huddle, but we mostly are huddle up, and
Yeah. So let's say you break the huddle. You're looking at the defense. What are you looking for? Are you looking for maybe I know as a quarterback, a lot of times you look for that safety. Where's he at in the middle of the field? Is it too deep? As a running back, where do you got your eyes on?
So I got my eyes on mostly the linebackers and the defensive line. I want to see where the hole's going to hit, whether it be power or counter or whatever it is. So I want to see where our blockers are going to get up inside, maybe a pulling guard where he's going to kick out. And then also I'm looking at the edge for pressure because we run a lot of option. So we try to make sure that they can't bring edge pressure all the time, but sometimes they do bring it. So if that's coming, I'm looking for that to see if maybe it's a pass protection, if I got to go help, or if I got to, get out the backfield quick because there's somebody coming. So yeah, I'm looking at the defensive line, mostly the linebackers as well. So
again, visiting with Liberty Blue Jays head football coach Chad Fregon and our athlete of the week, sponsored by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, Anthony Winson. Anthony, you don't have to tell me what it is. I don't want any trade secrets, but do you have that favorite play that maybe you're lobbying on the sideline? Hey, coach, let's go here. Do you have a play that your eyes light up when it's called?
I mean, I don't really necessarily have a certain play. I mean, I just like to get the ball in space. So maybe a swing pass or something where I can make something happen. Sweep maybe.
There you go. We run the buck sweep.
Yeah, buck sweep.
He runs it really well. He's patient, hits that lane, and I was hoping he'd say that play. That's what I was lobbying for. So he runs that play extremely well.
Very good. Well, Anthony, you mentioned you're going to the Air Force Academy. Tell us a little bit about that process and how that came about.
Well, last year, I kind of reached out to Coach Fregon and said that the academies were something that I was kind of looking at. I don't know. I like the idea of the education aspect of it, but also the military and serving our country. So I reached out to him and said that was something I was interested in, and he contacted a few people, and we started talking, and I eventually got offers from all three of them. And I visited Air Force and Navy were my final two that I kind of narrowed it down to. But when I went out to Colorado Springs, I just really clicked with the coaches out there. And I really felt like that was somewhere where I could be for the next 4 years. So it really just came down to that. And that's where I saw myself. So.
Very nice. I believe we have a young man maybe at Carthage, Missouri, Luke Gall, who is headed out there as well. Now, he may be linebacker, but he is a running back as well. But have you had an opportunity to visit with him, or was he out there on the recruiting trip while you were there?
Yeah, he was out there when I was there, and we talked a lot, and we kind of hung out when we were out there. So I'm definitely looking forward to having him as my teammate. He's a great player. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having him next to me.
All right, very good. Well, once again, Anthony, on behalf of Missouri Sports Network and the Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, congratulations and well done.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Coach, we appreciate you getting this set up for us, and hopefully we'll get to visit again into the future. And good luck as you go in here to week 5, and you've got Park Hill South at home.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for doing this every week for our kids here in Missouri.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Hey, welcome back to Sports Network. Great interview with Anthony Winson on his way to the Air Force Academy. Just run through the scores for those of you that just getting in your cars and heading home from ball games. A lot of late games going on tonight. If you could, hey, just message me. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on YouTube. If you got a question or a comment, or you're looking for a score, you have a score. Just send it to it right there. We just got a message from home 336-3308, and I'm not sure who that is, but hey, we appreciate you tuning in. We have reached out to both Camdenton and Pierce City at this point. I'm not Pierce City, Camdenton and John Perry at Nixa. So hopefully they'll be joining us here on the show at some point. It's 9:55, and the games we have at this time that have gone final from last night, of St. Paul Lutheran over Sweet Springs 50-28, was Portageville over Charleston 34-28. Poplar Bluff defeats Sykeston 35-2. Friday night scores in 8-man football. North Shelby over Knox County 62-20. It was Nottoway Holt 46, Mound City 12. Worth County over King City 42-8. Here on page 1 was Butler defeating El Dorado Springs 32-0. It was New Madrid Central over Caruthersville 68-6. Monroe City defeats Centralia 28-7. Marionville over Diamond 44-3. Crystal City defeats Gateway 24-22. Was Louisiana over South Callaway 32-28. Windsor defeats Midway 52-13. It was Ash Grove by 2 over Miller 8-6. Brookfield defeats Palmyra 48-20. East Buchanan over Penny 45-16. Russellville over Scotland County 42-13. Cole Camp defeats Slater 42-14. South Harrison over Polo 6-8. South Shelby defeating Clark County 13-6. St. Mary's over Duchesne 48-6. Valley Catholic defeats St. Vincent 67-7. On page 2 was Blair Oaks over Boonville 52-13. Bowling Green shuts out Montgomery City 74-0. It was Osage over California 54-30. Logan Rogersville shuts out Springfield Catholic 48-0. Seneca defeats Monette 55-20. Do not have a final yet in that Mount Vernon Nevada game. Mount Vernon at last report was up 10-7. Ava over Salem 38-20. Southern Boone over Versailles 49-7. On page 3 was Maryville shutting out Cameron 49-0. Park Hill Central over St. Genevieve, 45-3. Hannibal defeats Mexico, 49-8. Harrisonville over Summit Christian, 49-7. Oak Grove over Clinton, 49-12. On page 4, Smithville defeats Excelsior Springs, 42-8. Carl Junction over Branson, 32-7. Hillsboro defeats Festus, 58-21. Was Farmington over TDW Prep 43-0. Carthage over Neosho 47-7. And spoiler alert, Albert Pujols has just went deep at a 2-run homer in the top of the third inning. The Cardinals on top of the Dodgers 2-0. Home run number 699 for Mr. Albert Pujols. Back to football. Holt over Fort Zumwalt North 14-7. Lebanon defeats Waynesville 52-14. Kickapoo over Parkview 41-8. Washington defeats Liberty 76-7. On page 6, CBC defeats DeSmet 41-28. We've got some more finals coming in here. SLU over Vianney 49-14. Marquette defeats Northwest 41-0. Games for tomorrow will be Fort Zumwalt West at Francis Howell North. Thayer goes to Houston. University City is at Jennings. MICDS is at John Burroughs. Excuse me. Greenfield is at Keatsville. Hazelwood East is at McClure. McClure North is at Rittenhour. Afton is at Riverview Gardens. Chaminade is at Soldan. Rockport is at Tarkio, and Pembroke Hill is at University City, and Priory is at Westminster Christian. Just updating some finals that have come in just now. Central Bulldogs hang on, and they defeat Stratford 21-10. Other scores that have just come in here. Let me see here. The Webb City Ozark game is a final. Webb City over Ozark 55-40. Reed Spring defeats Marshfield 26-19. Trenton over Milan 21-7. Final from Forsyth as Forsyth hangs on and they defeat Skyline 35-34. And Warsaw improves to 4-1 as they give Hogan Prep their first defeat on the season. Warsaw wins 57-26. And we have read that final. Nixa defeats Joplin 49-35. Lincoln comes by and beats Adrian 38-35 in a wild one. And in 8-man football, final score, Lockwood over Osceola 78-38. College Heights falls to Appleton City. Well, that game is not a final yet. 75-44 with 2.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And that has gone final. Appleton City defeats College Heights 75-44. Final score, Nevada comes back and they defeat Mount Vernon 36-23. So that game has gone final. We mentioned Springfield Central over Stratford, and a final from Willard as Republic defeats Willard 49-22. Again, you can message us at Scoreboard Guy on Twitter, at Missouri Sports Network on Twitter, or you can just join the show here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and just write us some notes and follow along. Final, St. Pius defeats Herculaneum 13-6. Elsewhere, and that's a final there as well. So you're watching the Missouri and listening to the Missouri Sports Network here at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And going to play a commercial from one of our sponsors, Country Financial, who sponsors our Team of the Week. If you have a nomination for Team of the Week or Players of the Week, you can email us at MissouriSportsNetwork@gmail.com. But here's a word from Country Financial.
I couldn't ask for a better agent, for a better company in a time like this, in a disaster where you have no idea where to start.
I learned that there's not a given in life. It takes a team. There's people that are going to watch out for us and that care.
It's been pretty stressful. Once we saw Lori and got our plan, it's a lot better now.
It was like a huge weight lifted.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And once again, you want to message us, come right on the show on Facebook at Missouri Sports Network on Facebook, at Missouri Sports Network on YouTube, or at Scoreboard Guy on Twitter if you want to be part of the show. For those of you just tuning in, we'll run through the scores we have that are final at this time and constantly updating. You're trying to stay on top of basically, I think, 119 games this evening, and we're doing the best that we can. And a lot of games have either just now gone final or just here in the last couple of minutes gone. And we'll update what we have. And again, you can send us messages via Twitter, or heck, you can text me if you want to, just text me 417-327-6914. Got that scroller going across the bottom of the show right now, the Friday Night Live. I probably should put ways to get a hold of us there, and I'll probably do that at the next opportunity that I have. And we'll update, just run through some scores here from Southwest Missouri area. First here, we've got other being. It was Carthage over Neosho 47-7. That's a final. Seneca defeats Monette 55-20. Seneca undefeated. Carthage undefeated. Lamar over East Newton 56-6. And Nixa remains undefeated as they defeat Joplin 49-35. Also remaining undefeated is Lebanon as they move to 5-0 with a 52-14 win over Waynesville. Marionville also undefeated now as they're 5-0 as they defeat Diamond 44-3. Webb City over Ozark 55-40. It was Lincoln over Adrian 38-35. Camdenton improves to 5-0 with a 31-14 victory over West Plains. Nevada defeats Mount Vernon 36-23. Cole Camp over Slater 42-14. Mountain View Liberty, and they are quietly becoming a powerhouse here in Class 2. They defeat Willow Springs 41-14. McDonald County over Cassville 21-14. Reed Spring defeats Marshfield 26-19. Carl Junction over Branson 32-7. Republic over Willard 49-42. Glendale now in the fourth quarter at last report has a 21-6 lead on top of Bolivar. It is Rolla 55, Hillcrest 20. Kickapoo over Parkview 41-28. Aurora defeats Hollister 54-36. Rogersville shuts out Springfield Catholic 48-0. It's Forsyth over Skyline in a wild one, 35-34. And Central defeats Stratford 21-10. It was Ava over Salem 38-0. Ash Grove defeats Miller 8-6. Lockwood over Osceola 78-38. Buffalo defeats Sherwood 37-27. Butler over El Dorado Springs 32-0. Sarcoxy defeats St. Joe Lafayette 18-7. Liberal over Jasper 54-36. Appleton City defeats College Heights 75-44. And Warsaw over Hogan Prep 57-26. 57-26. Last night it was St. Paul Lutheran over Sweet Springs 50-28. Portageville defeats Charleston 34-28, and Poplar Bluff over Sykeston 35-2. Games tonight here on page 1. Drexel defeats Rich Hill 70-14. It was North Shelby over Knox County 62-20. Nodaway Holt over Mound City 46-12. North Andrew defeats St. Joe Christian 86-30. Lockwood over Osceola 78-38. And Worth County defeats King City 42-8. Again, this is Friday Night Live coming to you from the Pizza Ranch studio here at the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage, and brought to you by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, Great Southern Bank, Pizza Ranch, our home studio, Labor's Local 663, Dope Propane, the Bank of Billings, and our presenting sponsor, Central Bank of the Ozarks. It was Butler over El Dorado Springs 32-20. New Madrid County Central defeats Caruthersville 68-6. Hannibal, and I apologize, little glitch there, but we got it figured out. It was Hannibal over Mexico 49-8. Harrisonville defeats Summit Christian 49-7. Lutheran North over Lutheran South 55-7. Oak Grove over Clinton 49-12. Union defeats St. Clair 41-14. Sullivan over Pacific 30-0. Here on page 4 was Smithville over Excelsior Springs 42-8. Carl Junction over Branson 32-7. Hillsboro 58, Festus 21. Lincoln Prep over Van Horn 14-13. Farmington defeats TW Prep 43-0. Page 5. Carthage defeats Neosho 47-7. Timberland over Francis Howe 49-14. Holt over Fort Zumwalt North 14-7. Lebanon over Waynesville 52-14. Kickapoo over Parkview 41-8. Parkway West 18. Lafayette 7. Washington over Liberty 76-7. Page 6. CBC defeats DeSmet 41-28. Nixa over Joplin 49-35. SLU over Vianney 49-14. Marquette defeats Northwest 41-0. Saturday games. Fort Zumwalt West is at Francis Howell North. Thayer is at Houston. University City is at Jennings. MICDS travels to John Burroughs. Greenfield goes to Keatsville. Hazelwood East is at McClure. McClure North travels to Rittenhour. Afton High School, my father's alma mater. Afton is at Riverview Gardens. Chaminade is at Soldan. Rockport is at Tarkio. And Pembroke Hill travels to University Academy. Priory is at Westminster Christian. You're watching the Missouri and listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you've tuned in. Now we'll hear a little bit from our Chevy dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week. Zane Palmer from Odessa High School sets a new single-game touchdown record and rushing record. And I have a feeling that may have happened again tonight at Nixa. But we will find out here as we check out the stats. But here's Zane Palmer from Odessa High School.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Coming to you live from the Pizza Ranch studio. Pizza Ranch with 7 locations around Missouri, including the Kansas City area, St. Joe, Maryville, Springfield, Branson, and Wentzville in St. Louis. Presented by, as always, Central Bank of the Ozarks in Springfield, Missouri, and surrounding the state, Central Bank. And Great Southern Bank with 100 locations in 6 states. They care as much about your money as you do. Doak Propane and the Laborers Union Local 663 were pleased to go about 118 miles to my north to Odessa High School. We welcome in Odessa head football coach Mark Thomas. Coach Thomas, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
And Coach, before we get to our Chevy dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, you guys are 3-1 on the season, coming off of a good season a year ago at 8-2. What's going really well right now for Odessa?
Well, the last 4 years, and we're hoping to keep adding to it. Last 4 years, we've been 42-3, so we've had a lot of really good years in a row. We're working really hard trying to keep that going. Keep that streak alive. We've won several conference championships. We have won in that time frame. We've made it to the district quarterfinals one year, that back in 2018, won the Class 3 state championship with a 15-0 record in 19. And we're undefeated in 2020, but didn't get to finish through the playoffs due to COVID shutdown. So we've been trying to just keep keep that success rolling.
Hey, we're going to pause this real quick. We have with us here on the line at the Missouri Sports Network, next head football coach, Coach John Perry, is alongside Coach Perry. Hey, how you got to tell us a little bit about this? Was an exciting game against a very good Joplin team, and how about Ramon Green and that offensive line? I think your mic is muted, Coach. I think Coach Perry's mic got muted there. We'll see if we can't get him back. And he may be traveling. Looks like he's lost a little bit of juice there, but we'll wait until he gets in an area here, and he jumped off, and now he's back with us. And,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Coach. And I just want to say a big night for the Nixa Eagles. Get a big win, 2 undefeated teams, state-ranked teams. But how about the job your offensive line did tonight for Ramon Green?
Man, they were of defensive line defense. That offensive line tonight and Ramon Green absolutely special. I've been trying to tell everybody that would listen, he's probably the best running back. He was probably close to 35 carries, 350 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and was spectacular. And it was, defense was optional tonight on both. Offensively, both teams were really good. We were able to, get one or.
Yeah, Coach, as you look at this contest tonight, you come out at half, and you really just kind of you put them away there, especially late in the game, and then Ramon Green with the 41-yard touchdown really put it out of touch for you. But just talk about those members of that offensive line and defensive line and how well they did tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, it's tough when you go out there and, you feel like you have to score the ball because we were obviously in a shootout and both of it, but they wanted. We've got some really good wide field vertically, so they were they were going to see if they could. They kept 2 safeties.
Some example policies.
They kept 2 safeties most of the time, and Ramon Green, and we basically put the game on his back. And after having missed last year and games against them, he was fired up and ready to have a big night. And the offensive line, was big time.
Yeah, Coach, as you look back on this game, you guys come out of this relatively healthy tonight.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I think I don't think anybody was, but a few guys that are tired. But it was a good night. We got out with live to fight another day.
Coach, as you look at the rest of your schedule, and I'm not speaking out of church here, you're going to be probably favored in every game the rest of the way. What do you do to keep your guys motivated where they don't get kind of lax at this point?
Well, I mean, our mentality single day, so our kids are going to enjoy this victory tomorrow and then on Sunday to work, and there's plenty of things in that ball game that we can do better. We made it work on the film and starting to break down the things that didn't go right. We're going to try to correct them and trying to get better. I mean, you can't live on what you have done. You got to try to figure out how to be better, and that's what we're going to do because we're still going to play some really good teams from here on out. Our goal is to play on Novix State Championship. We're not good enough for that right now, but that's what we're going to go to work and try to time comes.
You bet. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here this evening. Congratulations on a huge win and the 5-0 start here as you reach the halfway point, and certainly looking forward to seeing what the Eagles can do the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You bet. Coach, have a great day. God bless. Safe travels. Coach John Perry, they're kind enough to join us here. They get a big win, and 49-35 over a good Joplin Eagles team. It comes in state ranked in Class 6. They are state ranked as well. They're undefeated coming in. A lot of folks at that game, a lot of eyes on this game from around the state because of the state rankings. You're talking about maybe, and Nixa has played in games up to this point where you look at, maybe 3 times this season where they've been put in the spotlight because you think, okay, the Webb game, then the Carthage game, and now Joplin coming to Nixa. They're under the microscope because people want their eyes on that game. And every week or at least 3 of the weeks here, they've been in one of the top 2 or 3 or 4 games of the week throughout the state. And as I mentioned, from here on out, they're probably going to be favored. But if they can stay healthy and just keep working and keep learning, and like Coach mentioned, you give up 35 points tonight. That's probably not going to be an option if you trying to make a state run. So there's some things obviously there that they can work on to get better. But they have done a tremendous job. We're going to finish that interview real quick here with Zane Palmer from Odessa football.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective, and find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage, coming to you live from the Pizza Ranch studio. Pizza Ranch with 7 locations around Missouri, including the Kansas City area, St. Joe, Maryville, Springfield, Branson, and Wentzville in St. Louis. Presented by, as always, Central Bank of the Ozarks in Springfield, Missouri, and surrounding the state, Central Bank. And Great Southern Bank with 100 locations in 6 states. They care as much about your money as you do. Doak Propane and the Laborers Union Local 663. We're pleased to go about 118 miles to my north to Odessa High School. We welcome in Odessa head football coach Mark Thomas. Coach Thomas, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
And Coach, before we get to our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, you guys 3-1 on the season, coming off of a good season a year ago at 8-2. What's going really well right now for Odessa?
Well, the last 4 years, and we're hoping to keep adding to it. Last 4 years, we've been 42-3, so we've had a lot of really good years in a row. We're working really hard trying to keep that going, keep that streak alive. We've won several conference championships. We have won in that time frame. We've made it to the district quarterfinals 1 year, that back in 2018, won the Class 3 state championship with a 15-0 record in 19. And we're undefeated in 2020, but didn't get to finish through the playoffs due to COVID shutdown. So we've been trying to just keep that success rolling our way.
Well, outstanding, Coach. Talk a little bit about the numbers that you've got out, and what you had to replace off of last year's 8-2 team. What did you have to replace due to graduation?
Well, we had about 8-9 seniors that we had to replace this year from last year. We do have a lot of new faces in our starting lineup, offensively and defensively. Our numbers are not real high, so we have a large number of our guys play both ways, and that's something that we're just kind of accustomed to doing here in Odessa. We don't get a lot of kids out for football, which is a little bit disappointing. But those that we do, they know what the game's all about and how to play it and how to prepare for it. We're obviously very proud of it.
So it's the 4th year in a row that you've won the I-70 series or trophy, so to speak, here with this game this past Friday. Tell us a little bit about that game and then the record set by the young man sitting next to you.
Well, yeah, we played Oak Grove High School, and actually it was our 5th year in a row that we've won the I-70 shootout, which is a trophy that is sponsored by both the fire departments of Oak Grove and in Odessa. And the firemen do a great job of supporting our football programs. Oak Grove and Odessa that's a big rivalry. We're 8 miles apart. The two towns are basically carbon copies of each other for the most part, and the demographics of those communities are very, very similar. So the competition, the rivalry is pretty strong and has been for many, many years. And you can kind of take records and throw them out the window when we lock horns, because it's always going to be a battle. And obviously this past year didn't disappoint. It was the thing that was different is it was just a real high scoring affair. Normally they're knockdown dragouts and you're just trying to find a way to get the ball in the end zone. This year is kind of the other way around, seeing who could get a stop. It was kind of what helped win the game.
Yeah, well, 100 points scored in that contest. So getting up and down the field. And again, we're visiting with Odessa head football coach Mark Thomas and our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, Zane Palmer. And Coach Zane had just a huge night, 7 touchdowns, 364 yards, both school records. Tell us a bit about his performance.
Well, he had 33 carries, a little more carries than I would like for him to have, but he's been a workhorse for us all year long. But last Friday was by far his best ball game, and he not only did he play really well offensively, but he had a great game on the defensive side of the ball as well. So he's a guy that rarely comes off the field. So he's a true Iron Man football player, and that many carries. Obviously, his conditioning is stellar.
Absolutely. Well, first off, Zane, welcome to the show. And on behalf of the Missouri State, on behalf of the Missouri Sports Network, congratulations along with Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. And Zane, tell us a little bit from your standpoint. Number one, did you realize that you were piling up that many yards?
Yeah. There after the second half, I think in the first half I had 4 touchdowns, and at that point, I knew it was going to be one of those games. So just kept working, kept trying to get it, and then I didn't actually know until after the game that I got the 7th. My little sister told me. I was a good moment for me and her, and yeah, it was very, very exciting.
Well, little sisters, they're awful good about counting touchdowns. I guarantee you that. She's going to know. She's going to know exactly how many you got. What, as you look back on it, on the game, what were some things that were working really well? I mean, obviously your offensive line had a tremendous evening. Blocking for you. Were there certain plays or certain sets that were really working well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our own line, they worked their butts off, and they blocked really well that night. And yeah, I think it's just with their help, me being able to get to the second level running the ball, it gets easier to pack on those yards when you're getting past the first level and able to break tackles and stuff. So yeah, definitely credit it to my own line for sure.
Yeah, what do you do as far as preparation? Throughout the week, how are you getting prepared right now? I know Friday you've got at Pleasant Hill, who you split with last year. Tell us a little bit about just your preparation. Or you spend a lot of time on film, or what's your prep like this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Film is key to preparing. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are big practices, and once you get to Thursday, you're just kind of tuning it up. So yesterday and today are kind of our big preparation days. We got to do the best we can to take full advantage of those, as well as watching film when we can.
Do you have, and I know it's kind of what it is, but there are plays that you're maybe lobbying for, coach, you got to call this, or do you have a favorite set of plays that you, when it's called in the huddle or signaled in, that you just kind of light up because hey, I've got an opportunity here?
Yeah, I mean, I just like running the ball. So I mean, anytime he gives me that opportunity, which is quite a bit, I get excited, and I like running the ball.
All right, very good. So tell us a little bit about, Coach talked about you rarely come off the field. Tell us about just your preparation defensively and how you get just not. Hey, welcome to Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Well, I mentioned earlier that Robert Pujols had hit number 699. If I'm not mistaken, he has now hit number 700. So, Johnny Mack, if you're listening and you was a doubter or were a doubter, and Austin Bradley, he's jumped in here on it too. So he did hit number 700. So congratulations. He joins Hank Aaron as the only two players in Major League Baseball history to hit 700 home runs and collect 3,000 hits. So congratulations, Mr. Poole. Back to high school here on Friday Night Live. You can join us on Facebook, Twitter, and excuse me, and YouTube, and you can leave messages with us as well. But Thursday night games, it was St. Paul Lutheran over Sweet Springs, 50-28. Portageville defeats Charleston, 34-28. Poplar Bluff 35, Sykeston 2. In 8-man football, was Albany over South Nottoway 34-36. Drexel defeats Rich Hill 70-14. North Shelby over Knox County 62-20. Nottoway Holt 46, Mound City 12. North Andrew over St. Joe Christian 86-30. Lockwood defeats Osceola 78-38. Stanberry over Pattonsburg 84-48. Worth County defeats King City 42-8. On page 1, Butler over El Dorado Springs 32-0. It was Mountain Grove over Kabul 42-14. Knob Noster defeats Carrollton 43-14. New Madrid County Central defeats Caruthersville 68-6. It was Monroe City over Centralia 28-7. Crestridge defeats Lone Jack 54-6. Was Marionville over Diamond 44-3. Crystal City over Gateway 24-22. Was Harrisburg over Salisbury 14-12. Mid Buchanan defeats Lathrop 34-7. Louisiana over South Callaway 32-28. Scott City over Malden 62-20. Windsor defeats Midway 52-13. Ash Grove over Miller 8-6. Brookfield over Palmyra 48-20. East Buchanan defeats Penny 45-16. Russellville over Scotland County 42-13. Cole Camp defeats Slater 42-14. South Harrison over Polo 18-6. South Shelby over Clark County 13-6. St. Mary's defeats Duchesne 48-6. It was Trenton over Milan 21-7. Valley Catholic over St. Vincent 67-7. Here on page 2, brought to you by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. If you have an athlete of the week that you'd like to sponsor or nominate, send an email to Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork@gmail.com. Blair Oaks over Boonville 52-13. Bowling Green defeats Montgomery County 74-0. It was Osage over California 54-30. Springfield Central defeats Stratford 21-10. Hallsville over Eldon 44-14. Forsyth defeats Skyline 35-34. Kelly over Principia 41-0. Was Lafayette County over Richmond 18-12. Mid Buchanan defeats Lathrop 34-7. Logan Rogersville over Springfield Catholic 48-0. Confluence Prep over Missouri Military Academy. I'm sorry, that has not gone final. So Seneca over Monette 55-20. Nevada defeats Mount Vernon Herman over Owensville 38-16. Ava over Salem 38-0. Borgia over St. Dominic 19-14. St. Michael defeats Kansas City Central 56-6. Was Southern Boone over Versailles 49-7. Liberty Mountain View defeats Willow Springs 41-14. Maryville over Cameron 49-0. McDonald County over Cashville 21-14. Park Hill Central defeats St. Genevieve 45-3. Clayton over Normandy 24-6. Moberly defeats Fulton 28-14. Hannibal over Mexico 49-8. Harrisonville defeats Summit Christian 49-7. Lutheran North over Lutheran South 55-7. Oak Grove defeats Clinton 49-12. Potosi over Fredericktown 34-7. Reeds Spring defeats Marshfield 26-19. Union over St. Clair 41-14. Sullivan shuts out Pacific 30-0. Page 4 brought to you by Silo Ridge Golf and Country in Polk County, Missouri, just outside of Bolivar. Smithville over Excelsior Springs 42-8. Carl Junction defeats Branson 32-7. Capital City over Jeff City 28-7. Hillsboro defeats Festus 58-21. Kirksville over Marshall 41-17. Rockwood Summit over Lindbergh 28-0. Lincoln Prep over Van Horn 14-13. Center defeats Warrensburg 43-15. Camdenton defeats West Plains 31-14. Kearney over Winnetonka 52-8. It was Farmington over TDW Prep 43-0. Page 5. Carthage defeats Neosho 47-7. Jackson over Cape Central 42-14. North Kansas City defeats St. Joe Central 53-14. Eureka over Oakville 42-19. Timberland over Francis House Central 49-19. Green Valley over Blue Springs South 24-21. Holt defeats Fort Zumwalt North 14-7. Rockbridge over Helias 31-20. Lebanon defeats Waynesville 52-14. Webb City over Ozark 55-40. Kickapoo defeats Parkview 41-8. Parkway West over Lafayette 18-7. Pattonville defeats Melville 36-7. Fort Osage over Raytown 38-28. Francis Howe defeats Troy Buchanan 35-19. Washington over Liberty 76-6. Page 6. Bishop Beage out of Kansas defeats Rockhurst 28-14. Blue Springs defeats Blue Valley, Kansas 35-28. Raypeck over Blue Valley North 41-28. Staley over Blue Valley West 34-33. CBC over DeSmet 41-28. Lee Summit North over Blue Valley Northwest 40-34. Lee Summit West shuts out Lee Summit 38-0. Liberty over Park Hill South 35-13. Nixa defeats Joplin 49-35. It was Liberty North over Park Hill 44-14. Slough defeats Vianney 49-14. Marquette over Northwest 41-0. Games scheduled for Saturday brought to you by Doak Propane. Fort Zumwalt West at Francis Howell North. Thayer will travel to Houston. University City will be at Jennings. MICDS is at John Burroughs. Greenfield is at Keatsville. Hazelwood East will be at McClure. McClure North will be at Rittenhour. Afton will be at Riverview Gardens. Chaminade will travel to Soldan. Rockport is at Tarkio. Pembroke Hill at University Academy. And Priory is at Westminster Christian. Some other scores, checking some others right now. Let's see what we have at this time. And let's see if we can't find them there. And we have them. Carthage over Neosho 47-7. Seneca over Monette, 55-20. Lamar over East Newton, 56-0. Marionville over Diamond, 44-3. Lincoln, 38-35 over Adrian. Nevada over Mount Vernon, 36-23. Colcamp defeats Slater, 42-14. Liberty over Willow Springs, 41-14. McDonald County over Cassville, 21-14. Mount Grove over Cabool, 42-14. Carl Junction defeats Branson, 32-7. Republic over Willard, 49-22. And Glendale hangs on and defeats Bolivar, 21-6. Rolla over Hillcrest, 55-20. Aurora defeats Hollister, 54-36. Rogersville over Catholic, 48-0. Pierce City defeats Clever, 47-7. Fairgrove over Stockton, 50-14. Buffalo defeats Sherwood, 37-27. Butler over El Dorado Springs, 32-0. Sarcoxie over St. Joe Lafayette, 18-7. Liberal defeats Jasper, 54-36. Appleton City, 75. College Heights, 44. Warsaw over Hogan Prep, 57-26. And Missouri_sports on Twitter as well. Send us your scores, and we'll get those out as well. And we'll take any scores. Let's see if we can. We'll just check on them just here. What we have at this point. And any scores. I mean, volleyball, softball, cross country, tennis, all there at Scoreboard Guide.net. And looking here, at the end of the third quarter, Russellville over Scotland County, 42-6. In the fourth quarter, it was Union over St. Clair, 34-14. So we'll check those scores as we go along throughout the evening. You can send us a score at Scoreboard Guy on Twitter, or you can send it to Missouri_sports on Twitter. And we are checking that out. But hey, while we're looking for those, we can play another commercial. If you want to get away, know that there are appointments or rooms available, homes available at the cottages at Fairhaven, which is down on Table Rock Lake. It's on the west side of the lake out by Cape Fair, the Cape Fair Bridge. 13 cabins and boat dock, swim dock. There's an in-ground pool there on location as well, and all the amenities that go with it. Just a short drive into Branson, or if you want to go over into Cape Fair and maybe take in some Flat Creek, a little catfish, whatever. But the Fairhaven are the cottages at Fairhaven, one of our sponsors here tonight as well, and we'll play just a little clip from them. You're listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com.
Welcome to the cottages at Fairhaven Cove. This resort spans 12 acres on a quiet cove on Table Rock Lake. You will feel right at home in one of the newly renovated cottages. Options include studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units. These units have been beautifully redone from floor to ceiling and offer both comfort and style. Each cottage has a fully functional kitchen, deck, or balcony with incredible lake view and outdoor entertainment area complete with a grill. Whether a couple or family, the perfect space awaits you. RV parking at Fairhaven Cove is now available to all guests as well. This is an ideal spot for a weekend getaway or family reunions. 4 full hookup RV parking sites are offered. Each site is complete with a picnic table, grill, Wi-Fi, and digital TV upon request. All guests have access to the numerous amenities that Fairhaven Cove offers. 2 boat docks are available for use. You can take a dip in the lake, fish, or house your boat. Cape Fear, Missouri is not only a great location for boating and water sports, but is also known as the bass capital of the world. The calm waters of the Cove is the perfect place to have your next adventure. The resort offers kayak and paddleboard rentals to guests. Life vests are always included. There is a playground for kids to enjoy and hiking trails to explore. An in-ground pool is sure to make a splash with guests of all ages. And what better way to end the day than around a fire? A large fire pit is available for s'mores, fun, and memories. These amenities and more will be sure to entertain you and your family. The Cottages of Fairhaven is on the quiet side of the lake, near Cape Fear Marina and Flat Creek Restaurant. A short drive will take you to Silver Dollar City, Branson Landing, the show boat Branson Belle, abundant shopping, shows, museums, and some of the best golf in the Midwest. Reach out to your host today to book your next vacation.
Hey, to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. Certainly glad you've tuned in. As always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. We'll run through some of the scores once again here as we wrap it up. We've sent out a link. Folks that would like to join, we can have up to 10 guests. So any coaches out there that are watching or listening that like to come on with us, I just put it out on Twitter. If you'd like to click on it, you'll go right into the green room. And once we realize who it is, we'll invite you onto the show. As we look at scores, and we're updating scores continuously, and we'll be throughout the evening. Got a massive team behind this, but Albert Pujols did indeed hit number 700. So congratulations to Albert. Alert, some of us have had the game recording. We apologize for that. So looking at what we have at this point, and we'll kind of update these pages as we go along. Here you go, scoreboard.net. You can see exactly what the scores were. Everything that we have goes right here. So first off, from Thursday night, it was St. Paul Lutheran over Sweet Springs, 50-28. Portageville over Charleston, 34-28. Poplar Bluff defeats Sykeston, 35-2. Here in the 8-man games from tonight, it was Albany over South Nottoway, 34-36. Drexel defeats Rich Hill, 70-14. North Shelby over Knox County, 62-20. Nottoway Holt, 46-12 over Mound City. North Andrew defeats St. Joe Christian, 86-30. Again, these are 8-man scores from tonight. Lockwood over Osceola, 78-38. Stanberry defeats Pattonsburg, 84-48. Worth County over King City, 42-8. Butler defeats El Dorado Springs, 32-0. Mountain Grove over Kabul, 42-14. Knob Noster defeats Carrollton, 43-14. New Madrid Central over Caruthersville, 68-6. Monroe City, 28-7 over Centralia. Pierce City defeats Clever, 47-7. Crest Ridge over Lone Jack, 54-6. Marionville, they remain undefeated as they defeat Diamond, 44-3. Crystal City over Gateway, 24-22. Harrisburg over Salisbury, 14-12. Sarcoxie over Lafayette St. Joe, 18. I think that was 18-16. My screen kind of went out on me there, but it's all good. Hey, we're having fun. I hope you're having fun too at listening to it. We'll just hear, trying to get it refreshed. My apologies here. Sarcoxie over Lafayette St. Joe's, 18-16. Mid Buchanan over Lathrop, 34-7. Lincoln defeats Adrian, 35. Lincoln over Adrian, 38-35. Louisiana defeats South Callaway, 32-28. Scott City defeats Malden 62-20. North Callaway over Mark Twain 34-22. Windsor defeats Midway 52-13. It was Ash Grove over Miller 8-6. Brookfield defeats Palmyra 48-20. East Buchanan over Penny 45-16. North Platte defeats Plattsburgh 45-6. Russellville over Scotland County 42-13. Colcamp defeats Slater 42-14. South Harrison over Polo 18-6. South Shelby over Clark County 13-6. St. Mary's over Duchesne 48-6. St. Pius the 10th 13-6 over Herculaneum. Trenton defeats Milan 21-7. Valley Catholic over St. Vincent 67-7. Wellington Napoleon 30-29 over Tipton. Lawson defeats West Platte 29-6. It was Aurora over Hollister 54-26. Jefferson defeats Bayless 42-6. Blair Oaks over Boonville 52-13. Bowling Green defeats Montgomery County 74-0. Osage over California 54-30. Springfield Central defeats Stratford 21-10. Dexter over Donovan 34-18. Southeast defeats Kansas City East 12-8. Hallsville over Eldon 44-14. It was Father Tolton over Bishop DeBerg 63-0. Forsyth defeats Skyline 35-34. Kelly over Principia 41-0. Lafayette County defeats Richmond 18-12. Mid Buchanan over Lathrop 34-7. Lamar defeats East Newton. Holden over Lexington 48-14. Macon defeats Highland 45-6. Logan Rogersville shuts out Catholic 48-0. Seneca over Monette 55-20. Herman defeats Owensville 38-16. Ava over Salem 38-0. Borgia defeats St. Dominic 19-14. St. Michael over Kansas City Central 56-6. Southern Boone over Versailles 49-7. Warsaw defeats Hogan Prep 57-26. Liberty Mountain View over Willow Springs 41-14. Savannah over Benton, 54-22. Maryville defeats Cameron 49-0. McDonald County over Cassville 21-14. Park Hill Central defeats St. Genevieve 45-3. Moberly over Fulton 28-14. Hannibal defeats Mexico 49-8. Harrisonville over Summit Christian 49-7. Lutheran North defeats Lutheran South 55-7. Oak Grove over Clinton 49-12. Pleasant Hill defeats Odessa 49-7. Potosi over Fredericktown 34-7. Reed Spring defeats Marshfield 26-19. Union over St. Clair 41-14. Chillicothe defeats St. Pius X 29-20. Sullivan over Pacific 30-0. Smithville defeats Excelsior Springs 42-8. Carl Junction over Branson 32-7. Capital City defeats Jeff City 28-7. Windsor over DeSoto 27-6. Hillsboro defeats Festus 58-21. Kirksville over Marshall 41-17. Rockwood Summit over Lindbergh 28-6. Lincoln Prep over Van Horn 14-13. Center defeats Warrensburg 43-15. Camdenton remains undefeated. They defeat West Plains 31-14. Kearney over Winnetonka 52-8. Farmington defeats TDW Prep 4-3-0. Carthage over Neosho 47-7. Jackson over Cape Central 42-14. North Kansas City defeats St. Joe Central 53-14. Eureka over Oakville 42-19. Timberland over Francis House Central 49-19. Green Valley defeats Blue Springs South 24-21. Holt over Fort Zumwalt North 14-7. Rockbridge defeats Elias 31-20. Lebanon also remains undefeated as they defeat Waynesville 52-14. Webb City over Ozark 55-40. Kickapoo defeats Parkview 41-8. Parkway West over Lafayette 18-7. Pattonville over Melville 36-7. Fort Osage over Raytown 38-28. Francis Howell defeats Troy Buchanan 35-19. Washington defeats Liberty 76-7. Republic defeats Willard 49-22. Page 6. And we'll wrap it up here. We certainly appreciate everybody tuning in. But page 6, Bishop Miege over Rockhurst 28-14. Blue Valley loses to Blue Springs 35-28. Ray-Pec over Blue Valley North 41-28. Staley defeats Blue Valley West 34-33. CBC over DeSmet 41-28. Lee Summit North 40-34 over Blue Valley Northwest. Lee Summit West shuts out Lee Summit 38-0. Liberty over Park Hill South 35-13. Nixa over Joplin 49-35. Liberty North defeats Park Hill 44-14. SLU over Vianney 49-14. Marquette shuts out Northwest 41-0. And your Saturday games. Fort Zumwalt West at Francis Howell North. Thayer will be at Houston. University City will be at Jennings. MICDS will be at John Burroughs. Greenfield will be at Keatsville. Hazelwood East is at McClure. McClure North at Rittenhour. Afton will be at Riverview Gardens. Chaminade is at Soldan. Rockport is at Tarkio. Pembroke Hill is University Academy. And Priory is at Westminster Christian. We are certainly glad you have tuned in. Been a fun night of high school football. Thanks to Nixa Eagles head coach John Perry for being a part of the show here at the Missouri Sports Network, where everyone has a home field advantage. And remember, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Good night, and God bless.